Oh, welcome back. There's a lot of drama in the political world. We're joined now by the, in effect, Republican nominee, Donald Trump, who joins us by phone. Mr. Trump, you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So I want to run the latest poll numbers by you. This is the new Washington Post ABC News poll showing that you lead Hillary Clinton among registered voters by 2 points in the margin of error, 46 to 44. Do you expect to maintain that going forward for the next 5 months?
Well, we certainly hope so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. I will tell you, I think we're doing really well. We have had some tremendous rallies. People are in love with what we're saying, and, I think we're going to do very well. I think we're going to do even better than that. She's ineffective. Bernie Sanders said she's not qualified to be president, and he meant it. And he said it because, frankly, with her decisions, you look at Libya, you look at offshoots of Libya, Benghazi, et cetera, so many different things. We could go on for days. When you look at her decisions, just bad judgment. She suffers from bad judgment, and that's Bernie Sanders saying it. I mean, he has, been rather nice to her. He didn't pick up on the emails, which I think was a big mistake. I'm going to pick up big league because, frankly, she shouldn't even be allowed to run for president. But she has bad judgment and therefore should not even be qualified to run as president.
She went after you last night. I'm sure you saw when she was down there in Fort Lauderdale, Mr. Trump. She was down there speaking at that Trayvon Martin Foundation, and she said this about you. Listen.
Donald Trump said that in his very first hour as president, heaven forbid, he would overturn President Obama's actions to strengthen background checks. He said that also on his first day in office, he'd mandate that every school in America allow guns in classrooms. Every school, he said. That's no way to keep us safe. If you want to imagine what Trump's America will look like, picture more kids at risk of violence and bigotry. Picture more anger and fear.
Wow. Those are harsh words. She says Trump's America will picture more kids at risk with violence and bigotry. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, they're just words. She reads off a teleprompter. You notice she's reading off a teleprompter. She always does. She really doesn't have her own words. And she talked about guns in classrooms. I don't want to have guns in classrooms, although in some cases teachers should have guns in classrooms, frankly, because teachers are, things that are going on in our schools are unbelievable. You look at some of our schools, unbelievable what's going on. But I'm not advocating guns in classroom. But remember, in some cases, and a lot of people have made this case, teachers should be able to have guns. Trained teachers should be able to have guns in classrooms. As far as bigotry, our country right now has never been so divided as it is right now. We have a president who's a total divider, and Hillary is weak. She's a weak person, and she's not going to be a president that will be. It'll be 4 more years, and probably 4 more years even worse than what we've been going through.
Mr. Trump, some would say that the Republican Party is the one that is very divided, but this NRA endorsement, is this a sign that the Republican Party is starting to rally behind you?
Well, I was really honored to get this endorsement, Anna. I went there, I was the keynote speaker, and I went to make a speech, frankly, to the NRA. We had a tremendous crowd. I don't know, it had to be close to 10,000 people. And they were giving standing ovations for every other sentence. It was an amazing, energized crowd. And before I went out, they announced that they were endorsing me, and I believe they've never done that to a candidate that hasn't even gone through the convention yet. We have a convention coming up in a little while,
right? And
we haven't gone through the convention. They've never done this before, and in some cases, they don't even endorse. They're a tough endorsement. Probably the most powerful endorsement in all of politics. I was honored by it, not for that reason. I was honored because they are really tremendous American people. These are great Americans. They love the country. They want, beyond guns, they want our country to be great again. They want America to be great again. I mean, it's like my theme. And I was very honored to get it. I didn't know about it, and I found out about it just before I went up to speak. So speaking was very easy because you felt good.
So I'm sure you read the New York Times this morning. It's your hometown paper. You're an avid fan, of course. They have a list of Republican donors, guys who've given millions in the past to Republican candidates, who say they're not supporting you. I'm sure you know all of them. Paul Singer's on there. The Ricketts family is on there. Under no circumstances, they say, are they giving you money. Do you care? What does this mean? for your
No, I
campaign?
don't care at all. These are people that won't have access to the White House, and they understand that. They're not going to be able to tell me what to do like they do every other candidate. They endorse people like Jeb Bush. They would have had total control over Jeb. They would have had total control over many of the other people. Many of these candidates, as you know, endorsed me. Now, as far as the Ricketts family, I don't know the Ricketts family, but I do know Pete Ricketts, and he's the governor of Nebraska. And he endorsed me, and in fact, he introduced me at my speech when I was in Nebraska. And he's a great guy, by the way, really a good guy and a good governor, doing a really good job. So I don't know when they talk about the Ricketts family, they can't be talking about all of it because Pete endorsed me, the governor.
Well, in this article, they point out that there's some contention. Well, let Donald Trump fund it himself. If he says he's a billionaire, then let him fund it himself. Bernie Sanders also taking you to task on whether or not you're a billionaire. Listen to Bernie Sanders. I want you to respond.
The American people also understand that Donald Trump cannot and will not ever become president of the United States. And it's not just that Trump, a billionaire, or at least he tells us he's a billionaire, who knows, probably as broke as everybody else is, but he doesn't often tell the truth.
So your response to that, and in this piece they point out $1.2 billion spent by the Republican Party in 2012 for Mitt Romney. Of course, we know where that ended up. Are you prepared to self-fund all the way to that amount of money?
Well, what I have done is that, and what I always said is that I would self-fund through the primaries and then make a decision. And I have. I've spent about $50 million of cash and funded entirely, other than the small donations, through the primaries. Now I'm helping the Republican Party through the, our RGA, through a lot of different groups, actually. But we're helping the Republican Party, and we're getting it funded, and we're dealing with Reince Priebus and everyone else. And I'm going to be investing a lot of money. I'm going to be putting in a lot of my own money, a tremendous amount of my own money, actually, in the race. But I'm also helping other people get money. I'm helping governors. I'm helping senators. I'm helping other people in the race. And I think we're doing very well. I must tell you, now, I don't need the money that these people put in. I don't even know most of these people. And what they should do, it's the New York Times, what they should do is talk about the unification that's taking place in the Republican Party. Because if you look at what's happening, I mean, the RNC, as an example, is with us. So many different groups are with us, and so many different people are with us. But now senators are coming out, congressmen are coming out. There's tremendous unity happening in the party, and that's really been the big story. So I was not really surprised because it's in the New York Times. I call it the failing New York Times. It's a failing newspaper. I don't see how it continues on much longer, frankly, because you take a look at the economics of that newspaper. But when you look at what the New York Times wrote, they only wrote the negative. They had some of these people that will not have access to me. They're not going to have any control. That they are people that want to put up money, and if they're in the coal industry or if they're in any industry, they want to have access. They want to have total access. I'm going to take care of our industries properly, like, as an example, energy and coal and other industries. I don't need people telling me what to do. They have totally lost their access, and they know that with me, and that's the only reason they're not putting up.
Do you think that the effective donors has changed the Republican Party's views on immigration? So the party leadership is basically for open borders and has been for a long time. Party voters are not. Do you think that's because big donors on the Republican side are for more immigration?
I think you have two views on it. I'm for very strong borders. I'm for the wall. I'm for a lot of things. And Mexico will pay for the wall, by the way, just in case you had any question, without doubt. But I am for strong borders. I'm also for people coming into the country. Lots of people coming into the country, but they're going to come in legally. But a lot of the people that you're mentioning, the donors, don't want that. They want people to come in for other reasons. I mean, you have to ask them what their reasons are. But I don't think that's the primary reason. I think the reason is they have no control over me. I'm going to do what's right for the country. They have absolutely no control. As far as wealth is concerned, I borrowed $1 million. The company's worth more than $10 billion. I filed my papers about a week ago, and everybody is amazed at the numbers. I'm very liquid. Now, to finance $1 billion, I'd have to sell a building. I'd have to do something, like that. Will I do that? I could. I have the option of doing it. I also have a lot of cash and a lot of cash flow. But would I do that? I don't know. I have the option of doing it. But I'm raising money for the RNC. I'm raising money for other Republican groups.
Yeah.
I'm raising money for people running for the Senate and for people running for Congress. I'm raising a lot of money for other people. Also included in RNC, we're going to work together. And they have a great network. They built a great network, which we need. They built over years. They built a network in cities and in states throughout the country. You can't do that in a period of 2 or 3 weeks. We have to start right away. So I'm raising a lot of money for a lot of people that are running as Republicans, and I would much prefer, if I win, getting in there and having a Senate and having Congress where we have the majority. And right now, it's going to be some close races.
Mr. Trump, do you have any plans to try to woo Bernie Sanders supporters who are fed up with the system as Bernie Sanders is declaring war on Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and some of his supporters are trying to get her to step down, saying that the system is rigged? Similar, it's a talking point that you used against the Republican Party before you became the presumptive nominee. Just people who are fed up with politics as usual. Are you going to try to woo them to your side?
Well, I hear and I look at polls, and I hear a lot of those people are coming with us. What I saw as a poll, I think it said 38% or something thereabouts in West Virginia, that if Hillary ran in West Virginia, as an example, I would get 38% of the people, that Bernie Sanders people would come with us. And that's a tremendous amount. I mean, we would get a tremendous amount of people, but I'm hearing it's in the 30s, and maybe it's, I've seen different numbers, obviously, for different places. But some of the numbers are very high. So a lot of the Bernie Sanders voters, they do not like Hillary Clinton. They don't respect her. They think she's Crooked Hillary, as I call her. She is Crooked Hillary. You just have to look at her record. But a lot of those people would come with me because, one thing I will say, Bernie Sanders and I'm no fan of Bernie Sanders, but he's right about one thing, trade agreements.
Yeah.
We have the worst trade agreements in any country I've never seen anything like it. They're incompetently done. And by the way, many of them are done for the donors that don't want to support me, just so you understand.
Well,
So those people would come with me, but I'd make great trade agreements. Bernie can't.
Mr. Trump, great to have you here on the show on this Sunday morning. Thanks for taking some time out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a great day.